Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to today's edition of the Fishing Teacher, and appreciate you guys joining me for today's episode. And guys, today we're going to have a very practical tip that's going to help you lessen a lot of frustrations, and that is how to properly put line on a spinning reel or a bait cast reel. This is probably one of the most, things that give anglers more problems than anything else is they get fluffs in their line, they get bird's nests, they get backlashes, they have poor casting efficiency, and a lot of it has to do with how you put your line on your reel. So we're going to give you guys some real basic foundational tips and advice that's going to help you eliminate a lot of those frustrations from improperly spooling the line on your reel here. Also, guys, before we get started, thank you very much for everybody that's taken time to hit that subscribe button here to the Fishing Teacher. Our goal, I got one goal, guys, if I can try to get the Fishing Teacher to reach over 50,000 subscribers by this summer, that would be awesome. Right now we got about 23,000. So big appreciate everybody that's been hitting that subscribe button. And also, guys, I'll put all this stuff I'm talking about today, all the fishing line, in my Tackle Warehouse link in the description of the video if you guys would like to get you some line or some lures. Right now, Tackle Warehouse has got a big Black Friday sale going on, so they got discounts on about everything on the site. So now's a good time to order, and using my link that's in the description helps the channel out a lot, so really appreciate that. Okay, guys, big problem a lot of people have as far as like backlashing a bait casting reel or getting a fluff in a spinning outfit, anytime that you're doing it, has to do with how you put your line on the reel. And we've done tips on this before, but I sort of want to reiterate and dig into this a little bit deeper in today's video, how I like to do it and how I have learned from trial and error, because the way that I've learned personally is by having a lot of problems, like, backlashes and bird's nests and fluffs and loops in my line and all that type of stuff, because I use straight fluorocarbon. I do not use braid to fluorocarbon. I've talked about this in some of my videos. I think that straight fluorocarbon line or straight mono or straight braid is the way to go. Like I said, there's videos I've done on it before, but that's why it's really important to me, since I do use straight fluorocarbon, to put it on right, because braided, any type of line can give you problems, but especially fluorocarbon line and mono can if you don't put it on right. Okay, now the first thing, let's remember, one piece of advice I'm going to give you guys, if you can afford it, try to get these larger spools. The smaller spools like this that you get like this, a lot of times they don't go on as easy. It's like the coils are tighter on a small spool. So if you've got the big 600 or 1,000 yard spools, and you can get these at Tackle Warehouse in that length, the big spools, it's the way to go. It's a little bit cheaper to buy it in bulk. And the fact that the line is not wrapped on so tight on these larger spools, it makes it lay a lot better. First thing you want to remember is make sure the line, when you set this up as far as to spool your line on, make sure your line is coming off this spool the same way that's going on your bait caster. So you don't want to reverse it, in other words. So point of what I'm talking about here is, like, if the line is going on like this to your bait cast reel, make sure that you're not, coming out at the same deal where it's like going the other direction on that. That's going to cause some problems with it. Another thing that you can do when you're spooling a line that'll help you out a lot is if you take it and put it in a bucket of water. Water, when you have it on there, it does a lot, as far as to soften the line, really helps out a lot. And then finally, when you're putting it on there, make sure that you put your line on tight. You got to put it on with some tension. You do not want to spool any type of a line, whether it be on a bait caster or a spinning rod, with that line being loose, because that looseness is not going to seat that line to get it down there where it's really firm and have less problems with it. So I prefer to have it wet, and I prefer to have it tight, and that type of a thing, coming off the same way. Okay, the next thing that you have to do is the amount of line that you put on your reel has a lot to do with it. You don't want to overfill your spool, and you don't want to underspool your spool. Now, as you can see on my bait caster here, I have got probably about a 1/16 of an inch gap. I don't know if you can see it right there. There's about a 1/16 of an inch gap between the line and the outside of the spool, which is about perfect. You don't ever want to take the line and spool it where it's flush with the top of your outside of your spool. That's going to be really conducive to bird's nest. But then you don't want to make sure that you leave it like a 1/4 of an inch open there, because that's going to reduce your casting distance. It's like the less line that you have on your spool, the distance that you're going to lose on your cast, and you're also going to lose some of the amount of line that you take up when you're retrieving it. So about a 1/16 of an inch is about the perfect amount with that. And that is also the same on a spinning outfit too. Especially on a spinning outfit, you want to make sure that you do not overfill a spinning reel or underfill it. A spinning reel is even more sensitive than a bait caster, because if you overfill a spinning outfit, you're just asking yourself for bird's nest. I mean, it will happen in a second. And if you underfill a spinning outfit, you will drastically reduce your casting distance because it catches on that outside lip. So really make sure that you put it on properly as far as, how it comes off the spool. Make sure it goes on tight, make sure it goes on wet, and make sure that your line is properly, the amount of line is the proper amount on the reel that you're using. Another thing you can do, one of the big problems with a spinning outfit or a bait caster, when you have a bird's nest or backlash, it can be avoided by just paying attention. And I know it's a pain to do, but one of the things that you can do is before you cast anytime, especially with a spinning outfit, just take a second, look down at your reel, and make sure that you don't even have the tiniest little loop exposed. Because if you have a little loop exposed in a spinning outfit and you make a long cast with it, that loop is going to catch on the line, and you're going to have a freaking bird's nest that goes up 4 feet up your line just because of that little loop on there. And it's the same with the bait caster. So it's hard to do that every time, but if you can, just take a second and glance down to make sure that you don't have a loop. Now those loops are caused by slack in the line. So if you're fishing a technique where you've got some slack in your line, that's usually what's going to create that particular situation. And finally, one other thing, guys, quick video here. One of the biggest problems in fishing that people don't realize is line friction, and the line friction that occurs from when you get a bird's nest or a backlash. If you get a backlash in a reel, and it doesn't even have to be bad. Say, for example, you guys have seen it, you make a cast, and you may have some loose line or a little bit of a backlash in there, but it's not enough to stop it from casting. It'll still cast, and you'll hear it, but you hear it rolling over something. You hear it like this, comes across like that. You created friction on your line, and you burned your line. The quickest way to break your line in bass fishing is by casting over a backlash on a hard cast with a spinning rod, a spinning reel, or a bait cast. It will burn your line, and you will break your line without a doubt. It's even more damaging than fraying your line on a rock. It's like you can have a fray on a rock, and your line will be stronger than it is if it's burned by casting over a backlash. So if you get a backlash and you maybe didn't notice it and you cast it over that backlash, you have to peel that line out, all through the backlash. Peel it out and throw it away, or replace the line on your reel. And if you got enough line on your reel where you can just pull it out past that backlash, that's the way you want to do it. But if not, re-spool. And the way that you can tell is when you spool the line, when you pull the line like you're picking out a backlash, pick it out until the line is straight. You'll know that the line has been frayed or burned if it's coiled up a little bit. So make sure you pull it out until it's perfectly straight past those coils. So anyway, guys, that's just a few examples of what I'm talking about here. Again, if you're looking to buy some line, guys, check this out, Seaguar and VisX fluorocarbon. This is all I've been using for over a decade. I absolutely love this line here. It's strong, it's supple, it casts good, small diameter, it's invisible, awesome line. Link that in Tackle Warehouse link in the description. So really appreciate it, guys. We'll talk later.